Let's talk about the good and the bad about Bali. I know many people think Bali is the paradise, it's called the island of gods, and I'm one of them, but there's always two sides to every story. So first, I'm gonna start talking about the cons, the negative things about Bali, and then I'll talk about the pros. So let's start with traffic. Traffic is the first con. I've said it in many videos before, but the first day that we arrived in Indonesia, that was actually in Jakarta. That was the first time since being in Asia for the last 2-3 years almost that we had been in traffic for a full minute without moving. Bali specifically, the roads are a bit smaller. Here, at least in Canggu, okay, I know if you go to Sanur or in some other areas, the roads are a bit wider, but here in Canggu, where it's actually one of the most popular places here in Bali, if a car is coming, you usually have to squeeze a little bit. So those things can cause a lot of traffic. So that is the first con about Bali. The next con is unfortunately, you might not have been expecting this one, but the beaches. I was not particularly impressed by the beaches. There's black sand beaches, and I never loved black sand beaches. It doesn't look as good as the white sand beaches. If you want to go to a nice beach, you probably have to go to Nusa Dua, which is on the other side of the island. There are nice beaches here. They're great for surfing, but they're not the best looking beaches here. You can still go to, Uluwatu, you can go to Nusa Dua. Even then, they're not the most swimmable beaches. They have a lot of reefs, especially now during the rainy season. There is a lot of stuff in the water, and it's not the best. Like when you're walking, you have to be careful what you step on, because like I said, there are a lot of corals down, on the beaches here, which is one of the things that makes Indonesia great for snorkeling. But those same reasons are the reasons why it's not the best beach experience like you would in the Caribbean. Grand Cayman Islands was the best beach I've ever seen in my life. And that also leads to the next point, which is pollution. Pollution as far as during rainy season. I know the beach on Instagram, YouTube, you see only the beautiful beach, sunny days, and everybody's enjoying themselves on the beach. But if you've seen my last video, my last day in the life video, you'll be able to tell a little bit of it. But the beaches here can get very polluted. There's a lot of pollutants on the floor on the beaches here. There are organizations that I always see that go and clean up, but that is not enough. And the next con is the distance, all right? Not everywhere is walkable, all right? So basically, if I want to go see a friend, I do have to take my bike somewhere or call the Gojek or whatever. There are different places in the world. For example, in Da Nang, I could just go downstairs and take a 2-minute walk to go see my friend. Not everywhere is that close here, all right? It's a bit more distance between everyone. You'll probably have to ride about 5 to 10 minutes or even 15-20 minutes depending on where you want to go. If I want to find a good electronics store, I have to go to Denpasar usually, which is 20 minutes from here. So it's not the most convenient compared to a lot of other places that I've lived in. On top of the traffic, that doesn't make it any better. Those are all my cons about basically living here in Bali. Now let's move on to the pros. The first pro is definitely the locals, the people here in Indonesia. I don't know if it's Asia in general. I've said it many times before, but my experience here in Asia has been the best it's ever been anywhere in the world that I've been in. But the people here are so friendly, so inviting. I've made so many local friends here in a short period of time, because yesterday actually Christina took the bike to go somewhere, and I decided to walk a little bit to go get some food. And while I was walking and I'm like looking for an address on the map, this guy invited me to come sit down next to him because it was starting to rain, and he just told me, hey, come here and come sit next to me. And he just wanted to talk and have a conversation for no reason. And those are some of the experiences that you'll get all the time. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't like, while traveling, this has been one of the highlights of traveling, how inviting and how at home they make you feel when you visit any of their countries. And the next pro is definitely the diversity here. The diversity as far as everything. People of different ages, different ethnic groups, different beliefs, everything. You'll find the 16, 17, 18-year-old who has no idea what they want to do, and they just want to start traveling in order to, take a break before they go to university or whatever, to the person who has been here for 20 years, who's 67 years old and has a family of 2 or 3. Everybody here. And I joked about it in one of my previous videos, but I have been hanging out with, 22-year-olds, 45-year-olds, and you don't feel the difference. Like, everybody here is on the same frequency, just enjoying life. So it's very refreshing that there is no separation here. You'll find every different type of person, and everybody is integrated. Well, I don't know if it's just the traveler or living abroad that connects everybody, and everybody is so open here too, so you can approach anybody and they're very friendly. People you would think, okay, I see them on the street, I'm just gonna stay away, and then they come and talk to you and you're like, wow, like you're a lot more friendly than I expected. I have that reaction quite a bit actually. And the next one, which is the best one for me, is activities. I love outdoors activities, water sports, any physical activity you can think of, I will likely do it. From surfing to waterfalls, let me look at my list here. I have a long list. Surfing, waterfalls, beaches, volcanoes, islands that you can go to, paintballing, go-karting, basketball, ping pong, water rafting, ziplining, roller skating, roller blading, skateboarding, soccer, rugby, water parks, wakeboarding, which is something I did it once, but I love it, and there is a park here that I'd love to go to. Paragliding, and one of the ones that I haven't done but I would like to do is kite surfing, yes, I want to do also, but I want to try the paragliding, because if you don't know, I am afraid of heights, and that is one thing I want to start doing in order to start confronting my fear of heights. I want to go paragliding, basically, which is like a parachute that you run off the mountain and you just glide everywhere and you come back. Before I get into maybe one day skydiving in Dubai, because if I'm gonna do it, it has to be epic, because I'm probably only gonna do it once. As you can see in my last video, I participated in a pool tournament, and that's something I had never done before. So activities, definitely, hands down, Bali has it. If you found this video helpful so far, please hit the like button. It'll help this video share to more people. So now let's get to the next one, which is networking. This also relates to the first part, which was the diversity part, but you will find a little bit of everything here. It's for example, another comparison, but in Vietnam, in Da Nang specifically where I was living, at least 80% of the foreigners that you see are probably English teachers. Here, I don't know how many English teachers there are, but almost every single other person you meet on the street, as far as foreigners go, they do something completely different that you probably wouldn't expect. Like yesterday, I met this girl she's a photographer. Last week I met this health coach. And the week before you meet somebody who's doing something completely different. So you don't just assume that you know what this person does for a living. And so it's a great opportunity to network with whatever industry you're in. You can find a group or an event going on. Join Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, Instagram groups. They have a group for it somewhere here. You just have to look. And the next pro is the scenery. It's beautiful when you're riding out here. The rice fields, I could care less about rice fields, even though I love rice, but the experience when you're riding, you're going on a long ride somewhere and you have the nice green rice fields next to you. It's unique. It's very unique and it's very beautiful. You can go here to the beach here in Canggu, or you can go to Uluwatu, and next thing you know, you're on a cliff, white sand beaches down there, and it's beautiful. And you're just like sitting down at your little warung or restaurant, eating, watching people surf. Or you can go to Sidemen area and go to a volcano, and the road here is completely different and a lot more beautiful and wide. You get a little bit of everything here, and from even your neighborhood, like this neighborhood that I'm in, I can go 10 minutes from here and I end up in a neighborhood after going through an alley, and it opens up and I'm like, whoa. Like, I never expected there was this behind this, little alley here. From neighborhood to neighborhood, you can have a completely different vibe. And the next thing is the weather. The weather almost year-round is nice and sunny, except for rainy season. But even like today, we're in rainy season. It's sunny right now, but it will probably pour later. Yesterday it was like there was a typhoon here. And the last pro about living here in Bali is the cost of living. And if you're thinking about coming here at all, you probably already know this, but Bali will likely be a lot cheaper than anywhere you're probably coming from in the West. Yeah, I'm talking about, you know, the rent for this place with electricity, water, cleaning every day if we wanted is $345 a month, and we could definitely pay less than that if we wanted to go to another place. So yeah, the cost of living is great here. Whatever your financial needs are, if you're trying to save money, if you're trying to invest more, it will benefit you to actually be here in Bali. And overall, just enjoying life. Because at the end of the day, what's the point of making a whole lot of money and spending 95% of it? Here, depending on how much you're making, you can definitely live on like 20 to 30% of that income. And if you're curious how much it costs me to live here in Bali, check out this video where I break everything down in detail and show you exactly what I spend my money on every single month here in Bali. And until next time, create a life worth living.